1 Samuel 4 through 6. Back when Israel came out of Egypt, of course, they built the Ark of the Covenant, just a small 4 by 2 by 2 box, and a box made of acacia wood overlaid with gold, the Ark of the Covenant. It was a holy box. Again, other religions had this as well in other countries. It would be a box where you would hold the documentation of your nation's constitution, as it were, the covenant that it made with its deity, and that's exactly what the Ark of the Covenant was for Israel. They did believe, and the language of the Old Testament shows pretty clearly, that Yahweh was presumed to live on the lid of the ark, or his throne was there, supported by or between two cherubim, two divine beings, and his feet rested on the lid, thus making it a footstool. That's how they thought of the ark. And as they carried that ark around, they were carrying, as it were, their God with them. In fact, let's follow the story quickly of the ark. During the 40-year wandering in Sinai, they carried it around. When Joshua went across the Jordan River and began to conquer Israel, it was stationed in Gilgal for a little bit. Then when they settled the land, it stayed in Shiloh, in the tabernacle in Shiloh for many years, and that's where we're meeting it, in fact, in 1 Samuel. Then it went on what we'll call a Philistine tour through 3 cities of the Philistines, and it then was taken to Kiriath Yearim, which is a small village 7 miles west of Jerusalem. It stayed in a man's backyard literally for 60 years. Until, and this is what we'll be seeing in our Samuel study, King David, when he became king, brought it into the tabernacle in Jerusalem and set it up in the Holy of Holies. So that will be the next step in the life of the Ark of the Covenant after that period at Kiriath Yearim. That will be David. But then, of course, Solomon will come along, and he will build an actual permanent home for Yahweh, and the ark will be placed in the temple. It will be there until, 400 some years go by, until the fall of Israel, the destruction of Israel by Babylon in 586. So that's the basic story of the Ark of the Covenant. Now, why talk about that now is because chapters 4 through 6, our reading today, is specifically dealing with this period of the Ark's history. Let's talk about it briefly. At a battle that Israel was going into in the little village of Ebenezer against the Philistines, Israel mistakenly took this box as though it was a rabbit's foot, like a magic box of some kind, and it was taken by the Philistines. They knew what it represented. And so they took it to the city of Ashdod, where they placed it in front of an image of Dagon, again the Philistine god. The next morning they came back. Dagon had fallen. The idol had fallen in front of the ark and broken up. They were given tumors in the city and things like that. We're not sure exactly what they were, but some kind of painful sores came upon the people. They then took the ark, got rid of it, at least the people of Ashdod, and they gave it to the city of Gath. Same thing happened there. So they got rid of it, and they took it to the city of Ekron. Again, death and destruction followed the ark even into that city. So the 3 main cities of the Philistine plain, these 3 cities, were just realizing that this ark was not theirs to keep, and so they put it on a cart, put 2 milk cows, or attached the cart to 2 milk cows, and just sent it on its way. And it ended up in Beit Shemesh, back in Israelite territory. They then, the people of Beit Shemesh, took it to Kiriath Yearim. Well, what do we say about this box? This would be a good time just to, again, because of our reading, just think about what the meaning of this box was and what God wanted it to be, besides what it had come to mean. Again, it was not. The first point is that it's not magical. If there's any proof of that, during its time in Shiloh, that's the period of Judges, very low period spiritually for the people, and it just proves that you can have a magic box in your mind, and it doesn't do you any good. And so, again, God was never wanting the people to think of it as a rabbit's foot or something that guaranteed his spiritual sustenance to the people, something like that. Secondly, though, and this is a good point to remember, that it symbolized God's presence. Psalm 99, verse 1 says that he dwells between the cherubim. 99:5, let's worship him where his feet are on the ark. That idea, come worship him at the lid of the ark. The idea, again, is that he rests there. Taken in the right way, and we do this today, symbols are a powerful reality. Nothing wrong with that. Used in the right way, it's a very honorable thing. But again, be careful that we mix symbol and reality. Third, this proves then that the power that we saw of the ark in a city or in the cities like this was Yahweh at work. This was not the ark doing this to the people. This was a spiritual battle, shall we call it, between Yahweh and Dagon. And that's how the people would have taken it, right? That this God that is part of this box's aura, he's more powerful than our God, Dagon. And lastly, I think it's just good to remember that when we have the end of the ark within the story, never to be seen again, it proves that it had a societal shelf life built in, that it had an obsolescence, as it were, built into the system. And so I think it's very instructive, and Jesus will teach on this when he comes later, of course, that those who worship God must do so in spirit and in truth, John 4:24. And the idea of relics or even sacred space to Jesus was really a non-issue. And so that's a good thing to remember when we even have these stories of the magic box idea. It wasn't magic at all, and the people had to learn that lesson.